Hello. I want to tell you some more about the stupidity of Matt Hancock, a government minister and in charge of public health during the COVID crisis 2 years ago. Stupidity is the wrong word. It's not stupidity. It's Olympic class stupidity. It is hubris and self-confidence of a gold, Attila the Hun height standard. I cannot believe that anybody could be so utterly, abysmally stupid. Right, having got that off my chest, I shall tell you I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I am also on Twitter, Gab and Parler, where I am at Granniopteryx. I let you know when I've uploaded a new video on that, so if you subscribe to one of those, you won't miss a video. Right, please like this video and share it, and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, just check your subscription is still active. Drops sometimes. And you can help me financially. There's Buy Me a Coffee, couple more links. Everything I have just spoken about is in the description. Right, so I wanted to tell you something I found out about Isabel Oakeshott only this morning. She's got 3 children, well, all right, and was previously married to the American Nigel Rosser. Don't know who he is, but this should interest you guys in the USA. Then what happened? She embarked on an adulterous affair with Richard Tice. Here, let me show you Richard Tice. Oh no, there's Richard Tice. She embarked on an affair with him. Nice, good-looking fellow. But it was an adulterous affair. Now, why am I mentioning this? It's very old-fashioned to talk about adulterous affairs. Well, there are 2 reasons. And the first is, I happen to believe that when you marry somebody, what you are doing is you are making a promise to them that they can trust you. They can trust you with their relationships. They don't have to worry about that relationship anymore. Now, I know there are occasions when one of the partners is so awful that the other one is ejected out of the relationship in one way or another, even if they're still married. And I know that this can happen, but it doesn't appear that there's been any serious awfulness in her relationship with Nigel Rosser. No, she thought that, I don't know what Nigel Rosser looks like, but it seems like Richard Tice was possibly a bit more charismatic and good looking. As it turns out, Richard Tice was married as well. So when she took up with him, she might not have cared too much about her own marriage, but of course, Tice obviously didn't care too much about his either. And finally, both of them divorced their other partners and now they're together. I don't know what's happened to the 3 children. I do know that divorce has a very bad effect on kids. Okay, so I am not particularly impressed with the morality of either of them, although I do agree that her leaking of these documents was in the public interest. And I'm glad she did it. And I'm glad she did it for this reason. What you see, if you look at the papers, is not that the Conservatives were worse than anyone else. They were better, actually. The Scottish National Party and the Welsh Assembly, they were far more left-wing than the Conservative government was. They were much worse about lockdowns. They were much more severe. They hung on to all the rules that the English were ditching for long afterwards. They were, 20, 30 times worse. So it's not that the English part of the British government were worse. Also, you could see that Boris Johnson, much to my disappointment, he actually wanted things to be a lot looser, but he was overruled by the colleagues by whom he was surrounded. Now, I have said before, that means he wasn't as strong as he should have been. He wasn't the leader he was supposed to be, because he was right and they were wrong. But the other thing we can see is there was a groupthink that had grabbed them. They'd got into a sort of feedback loop of control. Now, that is in the public interest because it's very important that as a psychological spotlight to know how governments can get themselves caught up in themselves and start disappearing up their own fundamentals. And that can be studied and perhaps even stopped if something like this happens again. So, yes, it's in the public interest. And yes, Isabel Oakeshott and Richard Tice are a couple of people of doubtful morality. Right, so that's the first bit of my view of it. The second bit is the world-class stupidity of Matt Hancock. I mean, it's next to impossible to imagine how stupid this man was. How filled, well, okay, those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make Matt. Well, they obviously wanted to destroy Hancock. He was so confident of his own elevated position that he thought he could control a journalist who was already known to have not been too careful about her marriage vows, and who famously got somebody to incriminate themselves so she could get a story. That's Nicky Price in the Chris Hume driving offence affair I referred to in my last video on this matter. She was definitely not a trustworthy person. But even worse, she was in a relationship with a leader of an opposition political party. Because, for those of you who don't know, Richard Tice is running the Reform Party, which is in direct opposition to the Conservatives, and which at the next general election will be running candidates in Conservative constituencies. Can you imagine? That's like employing Catherine de Medici as a cook. It's just beyond belief. It's absolutely beyond belief. Well, so that's it. We have two things here. We have the colossal stupidity and hubris of Matt Hancock. We have the untrustworthiness of Isabel Oakeshott. We have the head of the Reform Party, Richard Tice. And we have a lot of information that I'm glad we have. But I can't get over how Hancock trusted her. And now he's screaming, well, she signed a non-disclosure agreement. I take it he didn't see any of the Charlie Brown cartoons. I once saw a lovely one. You know, Lucy, Charlie Brown's girlfriend, she had a trick she used to play on Charlie Brown. She'd hold the football for him. I'm talking about an American football, you know, those silly shaped things. And then she'd invite Charlie Brown to kick it. And the minute his foot was coming out to kick the ball, she'd whip it out the way. And of course, Charlie Brown would take a tumble. And he knew that she was going to do this. And one day she invited him to do this again, and he said, no, you're going to pull that stunt again. And she said, no, this time I'm going to hold the football and we'll shake hands on it to show my sincerity. And so he shook hands with her, and she held the football, and he did a run to it and started the kick, and she whipped the ball out the way, and he ended up doing a somersault and then on his back. And then Lucy looked down at him and at the end of the cartoon, and she said, "A woman's handshake is not legally binding." All right, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com, and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.